you can you see me?
Dang, there you look good.
Yeah,
That
well,
doesn't even look like you.
that's crazy, isn't it?
Hi guys, I'm so excited to share this video with you. It's Tia Ried. She's experienced a 100-pound weight loss, but not only that, she regained her health. She took control, and she tells us how she did it. In this video, she gives us so many great little tips and how to get real with yourself. So, without further ado, I'm going to let her, Tia Ried, tell her story. Enjoy.
Word to so many people doing this, and there's not very many people that do, and you're
Trying.
special. So thank you so much for letting us all tell our stories,
Thank
spread
you.
hope.
Your story can help so much. I mean, we're all individual. We all require maybe something a little different, but just your speaking the truth. See, people don't know unless they see a picture of you or really hear what you're about to say, they will not understand the value that you can provide to them because you went through so much. Your body is such a different body than it was just a few years ago.
Four,
I'm
almost
just gonna
five now, almost five now. I was at 250 pounds,
do
on,
what? 215?
yeah, 250 pounds. I'm
Two
5'5",
five.
so I'm not that tall, but on 20 different medications, including an insulin pump, and CPAP titration. And I did think I was about ready to die. I thought it could be any day. My family thought, we don't know when her last breath's going to be.
Wait, wait,
It was
wait. So you look as amazing as vivacious as you do right now, and you said you didn't know if you were gonna survive. Like, how did you get there? What?
I well, I had been diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, depression, GERD, gout. I had adrenal insufficiency and sleep apnea. And every time I went to the doctor, it was another medicine that was given to me. But I think back, if you go back further, I had gestational diabetes with my second pregnancy. And if I could have just been told, listen, if you don't stop what you're doing now and get a hold of what you're eating and putting into your body, let's get you a plan. You will have full blown diabetes, and what I mean by that is you could lose a leg, you could lose your vision. Not that they should give scare tactics out there, but people need to know, hey, this
It's
is
the
what
truth.
comes if you don't change your ways, if you don't change your life. Long-term behavior change was needed, and I didn't know how to start. No one said, they said, this could happen, but how was I going to fix it? you know?
Yeah.
So, and I did actually lose a little bit of weight measuring foods when I was pregnant. I ended up having an 11-pound baby, and it was really hard on my body. Um, and I did measure some foods, but it didn't stick once I got done with the
Yeah.
pregnancy. But it wasn't much soon. It was soon after that I was diagnosed, and my doctor said, "Oh, you have non-alcoholic fatty liver." And I didn't ask him very many questions because he said, "Hey, it's a lot of people have it. It's very common. There's really no need to worry about it. We'll just keep an eye on it, and we'll let
Yeah.
you know, if we need to do something." Well, I wasn't educated. You
If
trust your doctor, you trust them to know what they're doing. Now I know what I know. Once you get non-alcoholic fatty liver, most likely if you don't change your ways, there's going to be hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and that's what happened to me. Hypertension was next. I ended up with type 2 diabetes so badly that I needed the insulin pump titration, and it was up to 200 units a day via pump. I would eat what I wanted in moderation, and because that's what the diabetic educators told me to do. You
as
can
long
have
as
what
you have
you
your
want.
pump, you're
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And I would give myself 50 units of Lantus at night as well. And I just got sicker and sicker. And it's just insane. I ended up with a tumor in my adrenal gland. which caused, I was diagnosed with Cushing's disease. And when I went to the doctor, he said, you can tell, you have a hump on your back, your weight gains in certain areas. You're a perfect candidate for what looking like someone with Cushing's disease. And he said, you have a tumor in your adrenal gland, which has gotten large and it needs to be removed. So we went to have it removed, and he had to end up taking the whole right adrenal gland out. Well, my left one had went to sleep, so my body couldn't make cortisol on its own. So I had to be put on hydrocortisone. I had a dexamethasone shot to give me because my body wouldn't go into fight or flight when I needed to, such as like a car accident or major surgery or something coming up. I had a bracelet on. So now I had a bracelet and an insulin pump. And the next thing you know, I just got bigger and bigger from the hydrocortisone and all those products I was on. Plus, I was taking, for the hypertension, I was taking methyl tartrate. I don't know how to say it. 2 times a day, plus lisinopril.
Okay.
Then I was on well call. I was on, oh my gosh, the list is
Yeah, where's your list?
I can't
You
even
got
remember.
your box of meds.
I can't even remember them all.
Good girl.
Lantus, insulin pump, allopurinol for uric acid in my kidneys because I had created a large kidney stone that had got stuck in my ureter, made me go septic, choppered me out.
Wait, chopper, what?
I got put on the vent and they choppered me out, and I was on the vent for a couple weeks. Anyway, I got done with that. That's no way to go on a diet because I came
How
out.
old were you?
Let me see, I must have been about 35 or so around that time. And by the time I was 40, I had been in there several times for acute pancreatitis. Like I went into the hospital one day and my triglycerides were like 7,900 and I was doubled over and I thought, oh, I have another kidney stone. Well, I didn't. I had pancreatitis.
Yep.
So that was my 40th birthday for that. But I also was on Welcall, Tricor, Prevastatin, hydrocortisone, dexamethasone shot, Lysette, Jardiance at once, something like that, or I forget what it's called. It's a thing for diabetes.
Mhm.
I didn't write it down.
It's
But
okay.
Cymbalta, I was getting depressed, terribly depressed. I
I
didn't
wonder
know
why.
what was happening to me. Why am I 40 years old and can't move up the stairs? The Lipitor had made me feel like I couldn't, like I was 80 years old.
Muscles.
Yeah, it was
So
horrible.
you just needed some more steroid.
Yeah. Yeah, really. I mean, seriously. I mean, so I ended up on the highest amount of Cymbalta you could be on, and
Mm.
I'm like still like I don't know why I cry all the time. I can't. Nothing's working out, and so they're like, oh, we'll give you Wellbutrin. So then I was on up to I think it was 300 milligrams of Wellbutrin on top of the 90 milligrams of Cymbalta. So I was like a zombie.
Poor baby. Were you able to
Yeah.
work?
And then, yeah. And then Norco is needed for pain. So I was like, it was just crazy. I mean, why does this
What was
happen?
your day to day like when you're on the all of those medications? Like, did you come home? Did you cook dinner? Like, were you able to
Yeah.
function?
Yeah, I was. And a matter of fact, at some point in my journey, we had owned a restaurant, Smorgasbord. So I was very lucky, but
Mhm.
I ate all the wrong foods. I ate carbs because I could. I was
Yeah.
told I could have up to 46 grams of carbs per meal, 15 grams for snacks in between, and I shouldn't go over 4 hours without eating something. So everybody would be like, oh, Tia, look, I think you haven't eaten since whenever.
I used to
So
tell people that.
yeah, yeah. And fasting would have never occurred to me until I met Dr. Silas. And he's like, you have a carbohydrate addiction. You're a carboholic. And I'm like,
Okay, so
carbohydrate addiction? What are you talking about?
you saw a doctor, Robert Cyrus.
Yes.
And what brought you? Well, obviously we know what brought you, but how did you learn about him?
Well, my cousin had seen him on YouTube
Mhm.
and he's like, hey, he saw me. He said, you look like something's wrong, seriously wrong. You look bad.
Your
It's like,
cousin saw you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And from another, he lived in New Mexico and I live in Illinois. So we went to visit and he's like, oh my gosh, you have to do something. And I'm like, we've done everything. He's like, well, we saw this guy on YouTube. Let's get you an appointment. So my husband and I looked. We're like, there's nothing, it's not going to hurt. Let's do it. So we gave him a call, and it was the best call I ever made in my
Oh,
entire life. I just want to cry about it because who would have ever thought with proper nutrition I could eliminate all those medications, all of them, and
all of them?
yeah, and reverse my type 2 diabetes and lose 100 pounds just with eating.
So I guess that's why you couldn't remember all of them, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it was magical. I'd call it, we do Zoom. It was all over Zoom or, telemedicine.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we would meet. He would tell me what to do, give me some goals, and we started out with his real food eating plan, which is ketogenic, low carb, high fat nutrition. And eventually, I didn't want even need 3 meals a day. I mean, he's like, breakfast is not the most important meal of the day, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I got to eat right away at 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
But you don't. But
But you
you're
sure felt like
programmed.
you did because you're a sugar burner, right?
Yeah, yeah, and carbohydrate addict. I had never heard of that before. So, and come to find out it is, and it's an over consumption of carbohydrate disease. Type 2 diabetes is, and you can reverse it with proper nutrition and under a doctor's care. It's amazing. There's so many people out there learning and catching on because of people like you that are educating us all and getting the word out. Thank you.
Trying, but it's you. You are so powerful because you've been through it. You've
Yeah,
been through it. So
it's
each time you went to the doctor and they put you, well, each time you went to the doctor, you left with a script, right? At
oh yeah,
least one.
yeah,
So did they ever tell you, the inserts you get from the pharmacy? Did you ever read those?
yeah.
You did?
Yeah,
Wow.
sometimes
That's good.
I know. I'm like, well, look,
Well, I guess they wouldn't have
call
given it
me.
to me unless it was safe, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Wow. So, what did your doctors say when you started to not take the medication they originally prescribed, or did you stop seeing them, or how did that go?
yeah. I just stopped seeing and got a new provider and asked him if he would work with doc, and whenever I needed my
Good.
uh, medicines eliminated or down, deprescribed, if he would help me. So
Nice.
I was
Come on,
lucky.
you don't want to go back and show them?
Yeah,
For
because
goodness.
I do have that fear factor. So because if I start eating that way again, it's all going to come back.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and abstinence is what is needed for an addict like myself.
so that brings me to ask you, what was the most instrumental thing that you think Cyrus's process was for you? What was the most instrumental thing he ever said to you, or that you had an epiphany about while going through the process?
Well, that I needed to eliminate sugar and carbohydrates from my diet.
That you
Um,
were addicted?
yeah, that I was addicted. That gave me hope. I knew other people had battled addictions and won, and I could do it too. Then I had the hope. If others can do it, maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And when I found out that type 2 diabetes is not chronic and progressive like I had thought and been told, um, there was more hope. It was all around me, and most people think it's a milder form of addiction because you have to eat right or you'll die. So, and not only that, but you're challenged by it several times a day. And sugar foods are everywhere and they're in everything. So you have to
Everywhere.
learn to read labels. You have to, and addiction is a lot of lying, hiding, and sneaking. And I did that. And I felt
Yeah.
shame. I felt shame. And I
Hmm.
didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to go to family functions. I didn't want my picture taken. Um, I'd gotten so I did body shaming to myself, you know.
Mm.
People do that and it's just horrible. And it's not, it's all sugar addiction is a brain illness. It's all in the brain, and
Mhm.
it is chronic and progressive. And I needed help, and I found the right help. But
Yes, you
one thing
did.
I wish I had that I didn't have in the beginning was group support. I didn't have the group support in the beginning, um,
Mm.
which would have probably helped me a little more. I would have been a little bit more stronger to be
Yeah.
in a group of people that were battling the same thing and had the same addiction. Um, I was very lucky though, because my family was just
Mhm.
amazing. One of the first thing he said to do was, "Well, you should probably tell your family." So we sat down and had a family meeting, and I'm like, "Hey, you guys, I have a sugar carbohydrate addiction. It's the same as any kind of drug or alcohol, same as alcohol to an alcoholic, drugs are to a drug addict. Only mine is sugar and carbohydrates." And they're like, "Okay, all right, let's do this, mom,"
Oh,
and we educated each other on how much sugar was in stuff. I would eat a whole bowl of fruit in the morning with oatmeal and toast, and I thought I was doing great, but it was the wrong thing to eat. Uh,
it's
and then
real,
yeah, and then being told you could skip a meal, I'm like, what? Skip a meal?
but I'll starve.
Yeah, how will I live? But and you end up eating this way, and you're so full, and you don't even think about it. You're like, oh, it's noon. Holy crap, I haven't ate anything yet, and I'm
I
still.
never thought that was possible.
I know.
Oh,
But it's in addiction is about what's in the brain and what happens when you have those rewarding substances. They're It's just your behavior. I think addiction's anything you can't live without.
yeah, yeah. And you know what I call? I know Dr. Sivas mentioned or calls snacking.
An
There's
emotional,
a what?
an emotional event.
An emotional event. Yeah, that's absolutely true from the most part in my book. Um, I never imagined not snacking before. Like, just take the edge off a little bit. There is absolutely no regard for the hormonal effect of certain foods in
Yeah.
these snacks. It's absolutely insane. So we could go on and on about that part, but you are doing so much more now than you have in years. I think I saw some pictures of you on a boat.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can go boating now. I can be in my swimsuit, and before I didn't want to do that. So I mean, I like to go to functions and be with my family, and I look forward to being outside. And I don't go run home right home and take a nap like I did before. It was like all I could do to get through the day, and get home, and I would take a nap. I'd get up and eat again and go back to sleep again. That's no way to live.
Oh, yeah, I just wrote down something. What is it? So, like the layperson, this is what I wanted to really get hone in on when it comes to people listening to or going to the doctor. When they go to the doctor, they have two choices: change their lifestyle or not, and take
Hmm.
the medications. But they think that those choices, that the outcome of those choices have the same result. That's
Yeah.
really what's going on here. Oh, well, I don't really want to change what I'm eating or exercise more. So I'm going to, not that you need to exercise more and eat less, but
Yeah. I was told that too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't want to change my lifestyle as much. So I'm going to take the medication. And they think the outcome's going to be the same.
Hmm.
You
And
were taking your medication. What was
yeah,
your outcome?
it was horrible. And I wish I would have known. I never really had a choice. No one ever said, you could maybe get a hold on this with a eating plan, a proper nutrition eating plan, or low carb. No one said that until I met Doc.
Yeah. What do you think early on, before you had a lot of issues, what could have been said? Did you ever look back and think, gosh, I wish they had just said this, this might have worked? Do you
Yeah, I
know?
mean, like I think if they would have told me back then when I had gestational diabetes or non-alcoholic fatty liver, hey, chances are within the next 10 years you could have diabetes. Do you know what happens when you have type 2 diabetes? You can lose your body parts. You can lose your eyesight. You know, that might have been a aha moment I needed to say, okay, now what's my next step? What do I need to do? How do I need to eat? But then again, I went to diabetic educators that told me that it was okay to eat carbohydrates and just give myself a bolus. So it's all about taking charge of your own health care. Self care is health care. And I
Ooh,
wasn't taking care.
girl.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I
Preach
wasn't.
it, sister. Preach it. Let me hear you some more.
I wasn't taking care of myself, you know. And you have to let go of your drug of choice. And mine was sugar and carbohydrates. Um, a lot of people think sugar, the white stuff, right? Not sugar as flour, you know, bread, chips.
As Dr. David Unwin says,
Right.
complex carbohydrates is just sugar holding hands. I love that.
You know,
Did you
if
hear
you're really,
that?
yeah,
Sugar
just
holding hands. That's complex carbohydrates.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love the app, the Freshwell app. Have you got onto that application?
No, Freshwell?
Yeah, he helped, Mr. Oliver, I do believe is his name, develop this application, and you download it to your phone. It tells you all about the low carb lifestyle, and then you can like look up a banana, and then you turn it around, and it shows you how many teaspoons of sugar in a banana. So you can choose to eat that or not eat that. And I say no to bananas, by the way. eat a eat
Yeah, and
something like
everybody's
avocado.
different,
Yeah.
but yeah, good
Yeah.
girl.
And
And
you know,
we're not saying you can never have a car, but if you're addicted, you
right.
gotta you gotta figure it out on your own. But there's help
Right.
out there, right?
Yeah, and my husband, he can eat carbs. He can eat carbs every now and then. He's not diabetic. He's not insulin resistant. Um, he can do that, but he has RA, and his RA inflammation is gone from following this diet plan as well.
Me
And
too.
he actually went and talked with Sally Norton on a Zoom class and ended up being
I
a
just
having
got her
oxalates.
book. Oh, it's in the other room. Oxalates. Yep. Oh, she's brilliant.
Yeah, it was really. I walked in the kitchen one day and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's on a Zoom with Sally Norton. So
Wait, he
he's
was on a Zoom with her?
yeah, yeah.
A
And
waiting list, man. You guys just throw out around your name, huh?
yeah, she probably doesn't remember him. She's had so many people in her stuff, but he eliminated almonds and asparagus and spinach. He was eating tons of it because he thought it was
Yep.
okay.
I used to
For
stuff
him,
it
it
in my
wasn't.
smoothie, all
Yeah,
the spinach.
a bullet full of that
Healthy,
stuff.
healthy.
But
There are
he,
people listening right now thinking, wait, what? I can't
yeah.
have this vegetable.
Oh
Don't
yes,
be
you
too
can.
scared.
You
It's
can, but he
okay.
can.
Step by step, step by step. Let's
Yeah.
get metabolically healthy first. Let's bring down that insulin exposure first.
Yeah, but
We'll
he's
figure it out.
59 and he couldn't have water skied this year if he wouldn't have, but he's water skiing full with all his inflammation gone.
That's wonderful. What
But
about your coworkers? How are they handling your?
well, I had to actually talk with my kid because I work in a dietary kitchen in a hospital, and they do make a lot of bakery items and stuff like that that trigger me all day long. So
Oh
sometimes I have to
no.
close my door. Sometimes I learned being in Sugar X Global, a member of Sugar X Global in that group. Someone gave me the idea of putting on some minty oil, like
I was just
young
gonna say
living
that.
oil, underneath my nose. So when I smell that, I'll smell that instead.
Does it
Uh,
work?
yeah, it works a whole lot because I mean, just smelling something like that can
Oh,
trigger, raise my
that's the
cortisol.
biggest one. The
Yeah,
smell is worse than the sight for me. So what
yeah. I
kind of,
mean,
let's help out people here. What kind of gel do you put on your upper lip?
I just had some. I think it was peppermint DoTerra or Young Living
Yep,
or something like that. I'm
yep.
not. It
A
doesn't
little
either.
roller
You
stick or
probably
whatever.
get it from Walmart, whatever they have,
Yeah.
But that
Anything would
helped me out a lot. And I had to learn to minimize my exposure to the trigger stuff. So I chose not to go to functions for a long time. Maybe the first year or so, I'd say, I'm not strong enough. I can't go to that party, or I'm not going to go to that birthday party. But then I got stronger and I'm like, I'm going to prepare and protect myself from myself and make myself some items to bring to the party. And then sometimes people would be like, "Oh, that's really good." I'm like, "Don't eat that. That's mine."
That's
But
Respected.
yeah, it's my snack. I know I'm not supposed to, but if you know you're going to be in a situation
Yeah.
to be out of control, then and then I had to avoid people that may not understand what I was doing. You just have to set boundaries. Um, Join a support group. Do not snack. And what was another thing I did? Oh, stress management was a big thing. Doc would have us, take a walk. You feel like eating
Huge.
something? Are you really hungry? Are you just bored? Go outside and take a walk. Walk your dog or put a puzzle together or do a coloring app on your phone. And then 15 minutes later, you might not even be hungry.
And everything you're mentioning, it just seems so subtle, so simple, but all of them together, especially when you make the choice. Did you ever remember finally saying, like, I'm doing it? Like, what was your thought process? Was it right before Cyrus, or were you not sure? Were you absolutely dialed in when you first met him?
My,
Or did he
it was
say something?
my first call with him, my husband, he was on the call too. And we were stoked afterwards. We're like, let's do this. I can help. He was like, I can help you. Let's go clean out the cabinets right now. Let's get all the crap out
Oh,
of them.
your husband's the best.
Yeah. Well, he knew I was sick.
No, yeah. He
I
wanted
had,
a functional partner.
yeah, we've been together since I was like 15, so 16. So he knew I was alive for the party at one time, and then all of a sudden I wasn't, and it was bad. So,
Were you
and
when you
now
were a child? Were you
I
just
was
normal
actually,
weight or what?
yeah, I was normal weight. I was actually kind of thin, knobby knees, buck teeth, and wire rim glasses.
And now look at you. Hmm.
Yeah. And now, I've lost 100 pounds now, and I have a lot of loose skin, and I haven't done the proper exercising. I've never been much of an exerciser, so that's one thing as I think important now in my
It's a long
journey.
time for the skin, so don't.
Yeah, it's time for me to do some strength training and stick to it. It'd be nice to have
So,
a workout buddy. Can you come to Chester?
yes, I've never been there before. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's zoom it.
Yeah, we could get Vic in on it with
There
his.
you go. Ben B.
Oh yeah, he's the best. We bought his those bands.
Mhm.
So we've got them.
It's amazing what you
We
can
need
do
to
with
get the
those.
dust off of them.
Wait, what?
Need to get the dust off of them. I got the bag full, and yeah, they're so cool because you can bring them anywhere you go and click them. Attach them to the door frame and pull. Yeah,
Oh, next time, our next podcast will do that.
yeah.
So you haven't been exercising and you're
I
still
do.
lost 100 pounds?
I do walk every day. I walk
Um,
every day. Yeah, but I mean, lifting weights is what I meant. I don't
yeah,
lift. I need to
that's
lift.
been my wheelhouse. I'm a weightlifter. Can you tell?
You are
I know you
beautiful.
can't tell, but that's what it keeps me sane, number one. But number two, well, I did it from middle school all the way until 42. I stopped, gained 60 pounds in 6 months.
Wow, when you stopped lifting,
Mhm.
see, I need to do
But
that.
it was my T3 reverse. I also had autoimmune issues.
Mhm.
I was hyperthyroid, then I went hypo really
Wow.
quickly. So
Yeah.
I was addicted to food because I had to eat it just to stay upright. I was a sugar burner for sure. And to the layperson, that's not a good thing. You want to be a fat burner. Well, I think I was both, obviously, because I couldn't keep weight on. And
Yeah.
then, woo, the pendulum swung. T3
Man.
reverse was high, so it was undoing everything my thyroid was doing. And then, yeah, that's when the shit hit the fan for me, but that's for another time. So, and be careful what you say. I always said, gosh, I wish I had a comeback story.
Yeah.
So I wished it into fruition. Don't do that.
Oh
Oh,
gosh. At
Okay.
Denver, I stayed with Mariella Glant, and she woke up every morning, and she did a 7 minute video on her phone. You know that you did some push ups and some jumping jacks, and she got me going. And I did it for a while, but I need to get back into it. It did make me feel better, like right
My
when you get out of bed.
my whole day is different if I don't exercise. And I mean, I'd much rather sleep in. It's really my husband that gets me up now. He's much better at waking up than I am. But once I'm up, I'm good.
Yeah,
And
I'm the
then I
same.
can kick ass, but I'd much rather sleep.
And I think walking, one of the things Doc told me was to walk after my meal. I thought, I've always been told, oh, you need to let your food settle, wait, whatever. He's like, no, get out there. It'll get your insulin levels down. It'll,
Yeah, as long as you don't sprint after you eat, you're okay, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Now, the lay person who doesn't want to do any of this is going to say, oh, I have to walk after I eat, then I might as well not walk at all because I blah, 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 blah.
Walk
So
anytime.
walk when you can, do a
Yeah.
little brisk walk after you eat to keep your insulin levels low, your sugar levels low, make your muscles take up the glucose. That will help bring down your A1C, yada, yada. But if you want to walk in the morning too, amen, hallelujah, do a brisker walk then as you're able.
That's
Sorry.
my favorite time in the morning before
Yeah,
anything.
it's
And
quiet.
you know what saved my life though, I think, is when Doc gave me the CGM because
Mm,
I could see what foods did what in my body where, somebody might be able to eat blueberries or, and stuff. I could see that maybe that made mine spike a little more and stayed longer.
that's the best biofeedback, isn't it?
It is, and it's great because so everyone gets their own story then.
Ooh, I
What they
like
can
that.
and can't eat. And
Yeah.
then he would do blood work and he'd say, "Wow, you've been doing really good. Look at this." The blood work tells a story, so it's great to have a physician on board for
Mm.
um, ketogenic lifestyle to
And
reach your numbers.
that's so nice because that helps reignite your passion each time you go and you get that confirmation of everything that you've been doing is working, right?
Yeah, and then he might say, "Oh, I might see a number that's higher the next time," and he's like, your numbers aren't going to be the same like all the time. So that number might not be as good this time, but look at this number. You're doing
Oh,
something right here, so it gives me
see?
hope.
And you're setting such a great example for your kiddos. Wait, how
Yeah.
many kids do you have?
We have 3 kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And are they on board? They saw
Yes.
your transformation.
In
They
and
can't
out. Not as much as, they want me to be on board. So like if they see me struggling or I'd be like, oh, I'd like to eat that. They're like, no, or they'll leave. They'll put their own carby foods wherever where I can't see them because they know I'll get into them. I actually did that once early in my journey. I got into my daughter's chocolate morsels and I took just a little out of the bag. I thought she'll never see it. Put it in my underwear drawer. I'm like, nobody's gonna look there. Yeah. She came in the next day to make some of her cookies, and she's like, "Some of these are gone. Where are they?"
She
I'm like,
knew.
"Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'll bring you to the room. Here they are." And she's like, "I can't believe you did that. You took them out and put them in another little bag." But it was really strong. And there's addiction interaction disorder, so you might give up one addiction and start another, and that
Oh
happened to me
yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
So
I noticed that a lot with gastric bypass patients in the hospital for the last few decades that I worked there. And they often went from one addiction to another, from food to something else, either gambling or alcohol.
yeah, long-term behavior change is needed to battle it, and I think you need ongoing support for life, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Where do
And
you get your support?
Sugar X Global. Well, of course, I'm in Bitten Johnson's addiction now. I'm a sugar certified and licensed professional through Bitten Johnson, and I'm in her HMA holistic medication for addiction course now, so that I can help others with biochemical repair, but it'll help myself too with sleeping and breathing and exercising. I take my mouth at night now when I sleep and it's been the best thing ever. I love it.
It sounds so weird, I know. just a couple years ago, I went to a holistic dentist and she goes, "Excuse me, are you a mouth breather?" And I had just got done watching Stranger Things. And I was like, "How dare you?"
I love Stranger Things.
It's not such a nice thing to call somebody a mouth breather.
No,
But you don't want to be a mouth breather because it
yeah.
it means a whole host of things. And what I learned was that it can set you up for the fight or flight, or get you stuck in your fight or flight part of your nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system.
Yeah.
And you're not breathing, because you're not breathing all the way down and nourishing, you're using your diaphragm to breathe, or you're breathing here rather than down here. I call it Buddha breathing. And she says it affects everything from your head to your toes, and it really does.
Your gut. Yeah. It's
How you
crazy.
digest, how you feel, your anxiety, everything.
That's amazing. And was that a course you took?
No, it was my dentist,
Your dentist. Oh my
my
gosh.
holistic dentist.
I want
She's
one.
amazing. Amazing. I'm
Yeah.
going to ask her if she would wants to do a podcast sometime. We'll learn so much.
Yeah.
So
And
how did you learn about it, and what are the great benefits you've learned about taping your mouth at night?
well, for one, I don't snore. I stopped using a CPAP machine when I lost all my weight, so I didn't need it anymore. But I still snored some nights, and I don't snore anymore. I feel more rested when I wake up. Um, Not only that, but I try to, if possible, go straight after I do my morning stuff. Go out and get the first morning sunlight if possible. Setting your circadian rhythm going. I'm learning all this really cool stuff.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Ah,
And I also learned tricks like, when you're first starting out on your journey, you could um I don't really take any supplements other than some fish oil. That's about the only thing I take now. DHA. But what was I getting at? Oh, L-glutamine for cravings. When you're having a craving in between, I learned that some L-glutamine powder, or maybe some coconut oil and warm water and some salt, a salt shot, will help you get to your next meal. So that's something people can do.
mhm, mhm.
It
Yeah,
helps
that's
me
really
too.
helpful. It's helpful to have, or tell me what you think. I find that it's helpful to have some crutches in the beginning.
Yeah,
Not to be ashamed of crutches. Like if you need to have a little bit of extra fat or have some fat bombs in the beginning,
I did. I did.
yeah,
A bridge to get you
a
through.
bridge, a bridge. I love that. I call
Yeah,
it a crutch. I really like the bridge better because it makes you
yeah.
not feel as disabled.
Get you through to your next meal, and it's not going to
Yeah.
hurt you so much that it's going to lead you on to one bite is too many, a thousand is never enough kind of thing.
Yep. So do you mind if we go through what a typical day of eating for you might be like?
Well, yes, we can do that. I actually just joined Roxanne's BBB uh challenge, so it's a little odd
Yeah.
right now, but
Okay.
normally
Well, normally, yeah.
normally my first meal of the day, it would be around lunchtime and 12 or 1 o'clock, and I would try to bridge myself with coffee, tea, and maybe even I've gotten to where I'm trying to get rid of dairy right now, but in the beginning I would use just heavy whipping cream in my coffee if I
Mhm.
needed
Yep.
to get me through the bridge to my first meal. And then my first meal might be a 3 or 4 egg omelet with bacon on the side and avocado, a half an avocado. And then that, I mean, so filling. It's so
So filling.
filling.
I can't even eat. I
And
I
it's
struggle
surprising.
at 3 eggs. I struggle.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then it
We
keeps
have
you so full for so long.
It's crazy. It's satiating. And we have chickens, so I love eggs. So we have like 60 chickens. So farm eggs are
I'm so jealous.
staple. It's staple at our house.
Yep.
And then, then I get home and maybe I'll do a walk before I get home because I find out better that if I walk before I go home, then I'll do it because once you get home, life happens and things happen and it may not happen. So I always try to do that before I get home. And then dinner might be, um, I don't know, it could be a ribeye with a few pieces of asparagus or a salad, or it could be a ribeye with eggs. on the side because we like eggs. Or it could be a pork steak. I like pork, so we might do pork steaks or a beef roast. Um, and the only veg we do is, green like broccoli, maybe a
Green.
salad. Yeah. But vegetables, I don't, you know, I found out that they don't make me feel so well. So I'm more carnivorous than I've ever been in my entire life. And it helped me get off all my medication. So it just makes me feel better. So that's the way I eat. And others, it may not feel better. Like my husband, he's more ketovore. So he has more veg than I do.
My husband does too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
women don't get enough protein. They don't generally get enough protein anyway. So
who? What'd you say?
women generally don't get enough protein. They don't think, they think it's too much.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, a lot
think,
of women think, oh, I don't want too much muscle. What?
yeah, I
They're
think
spontaneously going to create it.
when you when you start eating this way, you're so full you don't even feel like snacking in between.
And if you need that dopamine hit, then you go for a walk or you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a beverage or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah, I like to call snacking or snacks binkies.
yeah, yeah,
Because I keep wanting to do a video about that. Just, yeah, I don't want a snack, but I want a binky. And you just put it in
yeah.
your mouth.
And
It
it
is
really,
like a little dopamine hit, right?
is an emotional event because half the time you're just bored or you're thinking about a social event that you
It's
want to be, or it's like a habit.
I used to be a wellness coach and I used to give a sheet out and it would be called dopamines or non-food snacks and it was all these dopamine things you can do to stimulate dopamine. I mean, not that
Yeah,
we want to like be addicted to stimulating our dopamine all the time, but an alternative to food being used as a dopamine stimulator. And so when I heard Cyrus talk about it someday, I was like, yes, I'm on the right
yeah, that's
path.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Dopamine Nation by Anna Lemke?
No, but it speaks to me. It speaks to
Put it
me.
on your list.
I
Anybody
will.
even listening, put it on your list. It's
I
a
will. So many more things I want to read.
yeah, I know I got a stack like this. I'm like, when am I going to get to these?
Yep. And these are the ones that I send to I don't send them, but I tell all my clients to read. Or I'll
Yeah,
like if I'll do a Zoom with the client, I'll go and I'll grab them like this is the one you want to read.
I like this
I
one. Not that I'm like in your carb
Oh, nice.
condition.
I did not get that one yet.
Oh my gosh, it changed my life. I took all Eric Westman's Adapt Your Life Academy courses, and they're amazing. And Vera Tarman's got a sugar course in there, and they're so great. And there's a group, and Amy Berger, of course,
Mhm.
um, has her Slayer class in there. And
Nice. You
any
go, girl.
yeah,
That'll
it's
keep it going.
and of course Dr. Barry's book.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's there. It's there.
Yeah, yeah. I gave mine out, so I need to order another one.
It's right there.
I
Lies
keep,
my doctor told me.
yeah, yeah.
I
It's
think
so good. It's
it's
so
so funny. It was Jason Fung and Dr. Barry that got me on this path. Well, years ago, 2003, well, 1997, I really started because that's when I became a dietitian. But 2003, I started to see things for what they are, but via a naturopath who didn't have any formal training. He actually wasn't the nicest guy, but
oh,
he opened my eyes though, and
thank
that's
goodness.
when I realized that cholesterol wasn't the bad guy and things like that. But I never went all the way over to saying, "Oh, but cholesterol is good for you." It was kind of like, "Oh, it's just benign, it's okay." But I didn't realize how nourishing it was. Um, and then I went for a long time. Actually, was a raw foodist for
Oh
a
wow,
vegan raw foodist for a while, and I became an extra stick figure. So
wow.
weak, so weak. So
Oh,
I swung back to the meat side, and I got so much healthier, felt so much better. And I'll have to tell my story someday. But I had a point. I'll edit this out. Um, yeah, I finally realized that meat wasn't the bad guy, nor was it just neutral, but it was actually healthy.
I know the healthy your brain's made up of all that cholesterol. Why do we want to take it out of our diet? I was told to eat low. fat, low salt for so many years, and it made me sick.
Yes, it makes you sick. Um, and so one day I was just like, you know what? I don't know what I'm gonna say do for my next talk for the company I used to work for. And I was like, let me just listen to YouTube, body fat, whatever. And then just Jason Fung's one of his fasting things came on. I was like, fasting? I don't know. Is that starvation?
I know. Yeah, that's what I thought.
But intermittently, okay, makes sense. And then of course, once I learned about the overexposure to insulin, I already knew overexposure to other things, like when you're on your steroids, overexposure to those steroids can really mess up your whole
Yeah.
adrenal cascade. Hello, I knew that. So why didn't I know this? That's all of our problem for throughout the years that it didn't click, right?
Yeah.
So when I heard him say, I love this, and this is not to be mean, Dr. Fung, but I'm trying to say it in his way. It's adorable. I love the way he said this.
I love
I'm
it.
trying to remember exactly how he said it, but I have to do impressions, okay? He said, there is a reason why you don't. There's a reason why you don't die while you're sleeping at night.
Master fasting. He's the master faster.
Master faster.
Yeah, obesity code did change my life. That and Nina's book, those
Yep.
were the first two.
Yep.
The Fat
Yep.
Surprise and Obesity Code.
And that saying, you don't die while you don't eat, while you sleep at night, that was like, hello, duh. And then I think in the same half hour, I heard Dr. Barry say, if you're a doctor, no, if you're type 2 diabetic, that means you make insulin. And if your doctor has you on insulin, you need to find a new doctor, something like that. And I was like,
I wish I would have heard that.
oh, yeah.
Because
It's
insulin makes
making
you
them more diabetic.
It's a fat storage hormone. And I wish somebody would have told me, hey, if you transition to insulin pump titration, you are going to get heavy if you don't change your
Yeah.
eating.
Informed consent. That
Yeah.
would have been nice, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
The doctors just think that you, as in everybody, just want a script, you just want a pill.
Yeah.
But we do just want a pill. Only problem is we think that pill is going to get us healthy.
Oh shoot!
It doesn't make us healthy.
I was on a bag of them.
Yeah.
I would have just started out with eliminating sugar. If somebody would have just said, "Hey, try to eliminate your sugar," I would have seen some benefits right then.
Wow.
Sugar-filled drinks. I used to drink soda.
Yeah. Yeah. We
It's
grew up
crazy. And
every Friday night just to have sweetened tea every day.
Yeah,
Every day. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, and we had only iced tea and orange juice and some milk in the water. That was when you were playing outside. We just drank from the hose, but we never drank water inside the house.
Yeah,
Never.
I don't remember drinking much water inside either.
And then I moved to West Boca. Sorry, but I wasn't a Boca bitch. We moved. Never a Boca bitch. But we moved to West Boca, and I met a new friend. Hey, would you like some water? And I was like, water? We're going to go outside and drink the hose? What do you mean?
Get the hose?
I didn't get it. Wow, that's pretty sad, huh?
Yeah.
So I still think whenever I think about going to my mom and dad's, I start salivating thinking about the iced tea. I still think about it. Oh,
that tea's good.
So good. Nest tea. Oh,
yeah.
Don't start it. Don't start it. So now it's water. When people say, "Oh, but I don't like water," I don't love it either. But you have to pick what you will do.
Yeah.
So you have any special? And I know you probably are busy, so we got to go soon. But any last things that you'd like to leave people with? And then you can tell us where to find you on social.
I say just start. If you're on the fence, just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. One meal at a time. If you mess up, start the very next meal. we're all in this together. There's lots of support out there. If you need help, just reach out for help. There's a big community of people, and don't worry about being perfect because none of us are. None of us are.
It's not about perfection, but progress, right?
Right. And I help people after my day job at night, so it's far and few between whenever my time allows. But I'm currently a member of the SMHP, like you are, and it's a wonderful organization. If anyone can come to their conferences, there's one coming up in San Diego, and then there's Boca. Um, I'm on the advocacy committee with the SMHP, which is pretty cool. So we get to spread the word out there. And I'm currently going to be on a Community Liver Alliance for Fatty Liver Coalition with Karen Jerome Zapudka for non-alcoholic fatty liver awareness.
Nice.
I'm really excited to say that I should be, and I'm hoping to be joining Mariella Glant with Ona Health as a coach soon. So as soon as she gets her startup going in America. So
Nice.
I'm
Congratulations.
hoping that it all works out. Ben, I can't wait to see you again at the next conference.
Boca?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready.
Yeah. Where can people find you on social, girl?
Okay, so I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook.
As
I'm Tia at Tia _food queen.
Oh,
Twitter. And I'm just at Tia Ried on Instagram. And you can just look up Tia Ried on Facebook, and I'm there as well.
That's the only
And
time I'll let you say I'm just Tia Ried.
Yeah, I'm just
because you are not just Tia Ried.
But you can also find me on the Low Carb Healing Hub with Tracy McBee, on Bitten's Addiction as a sugar addiction specialist there, and on the SMHP website and Nutrition Network. So I'm findable.
You're everywhere now.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I cannot thank you enough. Thank you for sharing your very difficult journey.
Let's do this again.
But exciting. Yes. Girl, I don't know if you know how amazing your story is.
I don't know.
There are people that are on that stuff that do not see the light, and I don't know if they ever will. And it's just a vicious cycle of pain.
I just don't understand it. Why do the doctors not talk to each other? They see each other, the records. Why don't they say, wow, look, she's really getting a big list. I was polypharmacy. You look at in the dictionary and there's my face. Addiction interaction disorder is like switching seats on the Titanic. It's still going down no matter where you're sitting. That's a quote from Benton Johnson that I love.
Damn. I love it. Thank you.